As the world changes rapidly, the value of education has never been greater. In this discussion, we explore why education is the key to personal success, national development, and global progress, and how it helps in nurturing the next generation of leaders. Welcome to this News First exclusive. I'm Stevin Machado, and with me is Professor Dr. Mohd Shukri Yajid, the founder and president of the Management and Science University Malaysia, a global leader in higher education. A very warm welcome, Professor Shukri.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here.
Yes, and before we dive deep into this discussion, can you just give me a background of what MSU University is?
Management and Science University is very much a comprehensive university based in Malaysia. We have established for the last 40 years. Of course, for university, 40 years is a very young university.
Yes.
We have developed more than 200 programs, from medical program and BBS program to IT, artificial intelligence, entrepreneurship, accounting, hospitality and tourism, and so on and so forth. From diploma to bachelor to masters and to PhD program, postgraduate programs. And in the same manner also as a university, we are very much global university.
Okay.
We have presence all over Malaysia. Our main campus in Shah Alam, Malaysia, and we have in every state in Malaysia. In the same manner, we also have our offshore campuses, we call it, in all over places, including in Sri Lanka, Colombo as well. So I'm here today also to celebrate the 2 decades of our MSU, MSI, they call it here, Management and Science University Institute, and MSU Postgraduate Center here for the last 20 years. So very much I can say that MSU is very much about global institution, global university, with students coming from 73 countries. And my expectation that probably in 24 months we are reaching 100 nationalities.
Yes.
And hopefully that we can contribute and give an impact to bigger community in the world.
Yes, thank you. And we'll get started off with our first question. So under your leadership, MSU has achieved remarkable global recognition. So what drives your vision, and how do you consistently inspire others to reach greater heights?
I think, as I said to you just now, MSU is very much a global university. Our vision is always wanting to be global, and we are looking into few fundamentals or pillars that we believe it is very, very important for any global university. And because of that, from day one, we put into all our stakeholders, our students, our professors, our faculties, our communities, that globalization is the key components of the university practices and policies. And with that component, we really work internally and externally to make sure that we can give a global impacts to our students to make it global. That's the reason also why we're here.
Yes.
I've been visiting these countries for the last 25 years.
25 years?
Yeah, yes, in and out, in and out. And we have established our institute here.
Yes.
It's equivalent to our college back in Malaysia, which is a Management Science Institute, MSI, we call it. And we also develop our postgraduate center here to concentrate on research, on masters and PhD program here, to contribute for the talent development in Sri Lanka.
Okay.
So with that, as I said to you, our focus mainly to be globals, and to making sure also the learning experiences of our students going to be the best.
Yes.
Because we want them to contribute in the future, because that's their journey.
Yes.
If they are going to be happy, if they're going to get the best experiences, definitely they're going to get the good educations. And with that also, we are looking into making sure that they are going to be the relevance, the education, relevant with the industries.
Yeah.
Because they're going to get a job.
Yes, exactly.
Relevant for their future. Making sure that it is going to be very entrepreneurial. And in the same manner also, we embed the right values and curriculum, particularly on sustainability.
On sustainability.
That is one of the key components. So I think that is our visions, and with that vision, we want to push this to make sure, according to our process of transforming life and reaching future. That's our taglines. because we would like to touch every one of our students to transform them for a better future.
Higher education is evolving rapidly
Yes.
with AI, technology, and whatnot. And how do you ensure that your leadership approach stays relevant in the face of global shifts and emerging challenges, and not just with you and with MSU University as a global leader in higher education?
Yes, I can see that. I mean, since my undergraduate days, long time ago, I'm an old man, 40 years ago,
Yes.
I can see that higher education landscape has changed tremendously.
Yeah.
Not just here in Sri Lanka, but also in Malaysia, in ASEAN, in Europe, in all over the world. And because of that, as a university, we must be able to respond to that. I think the way we respond to the changing of the landscape of higher education matters to the stakeholder of our university, particularly the student. I still remember in the old days when we taught medicine, for example.
Okay.
Very much medical education, very much different from what it is today.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
when we recruit students to be doctors in our university, we are looking for them not just to be doctors, but we want them to be excel in their professions. And the same manner also with other disciplines as well.
Yes.
If we take, for example, when we started our 40 years ago of computer science, at that time it's very difficult to get talents, but we develop, we nurture, we put a grand plans of that, and that getting evolved over the years. And now with the era of artificial intelligence, AI,
Yes.
cyber security, we're looking into how we can develop that more. In our university, one of the way to develop that component is by developing more COE, we call it, Center of Excellence.
Center of Excellence.
Where we put, for example, we have Center of Excellence for Artificial Intelligence, Cyber Security, to make sure that we are in the forefront of the knowledge. We are in the forefront of the research, and we develop in order to work with the industry as well to equip our students, the future graduates, with the best and current knowledge and skill. And in the same manner, I believe if we want to make sure that our university also sustain for the long time, we must make sure that we must be agile. The organization, the university must be agile. If we become less agile, if we not be able to respond to the changes, we will not be able also to develop and contribute to the student as well.
Okay. Yes, that was an excellent answer. And this is a question I've been wanting to ask you.
Okay.
So, what qualities do you look for in young leaders, and how do you cultivate these traits in your staff and in your students?
Oh, very tough question. Because I'm talking to young leader in front of me. I believe it is important that the fundamental is the same.
Yes.
I mean, the fundamental of leadership is the same, whether it is old and young. But the attributes matters. And to me, from the university perspective, we are always looking our students as the young leaders, the future.
Yeah.
I keep telling to all my students that the future is yours. I can only prepare ground to you, but that ground is highly needed for you. For example, we are looking into the creativities, because that is the future.
Yeah, that's a big future.
The future. And we are looking also into innovations to develop that for the future. That's why I keep saying the reverse of what people be saying. People are so concerned about robotics, AI.
Yeah.
To me, robotic and AI is so good, super great to assist and to give to compliments to humankind. At the end of the day, robotic cannot be creative.
Yes.
Robotic cannot be empathy.
True.
Empathy is belong to human being. So we have to develop the future leaders, particularly the young leaders, of creativity, of innovation, of empathy. The rest is about technology. So that technology will assist the leadership. If we can combine the leadership of the future with the technologies, and then anchor with the values of sustainability, I'm sure we are prepared for better future, for better leader of tomorrow.
Thank you. So looking back at your journey with MSU, what has been one of the most significant challenges you faced? And how did you overcome it?
I think it's a long journey. I enjoyed every minute of it for the last 40 years.
40 years.
40 years journey of building the college to university to the global prominence of recognized by Time Higher Educations, by QS ranking, and in Malaysia, for example, if in hospitality and tourism, we are number one.
Number one?
Number one in medicals and health sciences. Probably we are top 5 in Malaysia, and in many other places as well. I mean, we are currently a top 300 best impact university according to Time Higher Education, and going and more of that. Of course, we don't build university for ranking.
Yeah.
We build university to culture and cultivate education. So with that perspective, I'm sure that we can work, as you said just now, to improve the development of education for the future. And the most challenging, that's why I'm coming back to your question, with that background, the most challenging, I feel it for the last 40 years, is talent. Talent.
Why is that?
Because the world need better talents, and talents always something that work in progress. You have to nurture, have to develop.
The talents in the sense like with
Talent in everything.
In everything.
For example, even to be the leading researcher, leading research university, you need talent in research.
Yes.
You need talent in researcher. If you need to get the best teaching and learning, you need talent in your university professors and lecturers. And that talent be part of the management team who govern and develop. For example, here, when we started to develop the offshore campuses in Colombo, I'm scouting for talents from among Sri Lanka to lead and to develop, to support. That's why we develop postgraduate programs. And many of our postgraduate holders and PhDs are professors in many universities in Sri Lanka. We build and develop the talents.
So do you believe there's ample talent in Sri Lanka?
You have a vast talents, but you need to nurture.
True.
That is the big question. Nurturing a talent is something that need commitment. And we at Management and Science University fully committed for that. To develop the talent for Sri Lanka, to grow Sri Lanka for the next level of countries. The same like what we contribute to university, to Malaysia. Doesn't matter how big our contribution. Our contribution may be small, but I'm so satisfying that we be able to develop the talent here for Sri Lanka. And that is our testimony for the last 20 years. And we hope we can contribute more for the future for Sri Lanka in the next 20 years or 40 years.
Yes. So what makes education more impactful today? Is it the knowledge gained, or is it the skills learned, or the values instilled? And how does your universities help achieve this goal to the students and all the staff and everyone who's involved?
To me, education is always wholesome.
Okay.
You cannot break education in that manner. Of course, in the way that we develop and teach education are with that component. You need the knowledge gains, you need the talents, you need the skills, and you need the industries for commercializations and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, we must work with the right segment to develop that for the future. And I can see that here, for example, in Sri Lanka, there are, as you said just now, you asked me just now, very talented Sri Lanka. I went all over the world. In part of my job, I met Sri Lanka in Toronto. I met Sri Lanka, in Malaysia, in London, in all places. They have the talents, they have the skill, they have everything. But we need to nurture that within the framework of the university, of the institutes, of the knowledge, and very important to put the values into it. Knowledge without values is going to be disastrous.
What is the student life compared to Malaysia and Sri Lanka? Do you think we are more stressed as students in Sri Lanka, or do you think Malaysia has a more stressful student life?
Okay, difficult to answer your question because I never studied here.
Yes, true.
But I can make a comparison of my own personal experiences. I studied in UK, United Kingdom, I also study in Malaysia, and I have university in Malaysia, and I
Yes.
have offshore campuses here. I can see that student lives are very much linked to the cultural context of each country. Very much,
Yes.
very much. But I can see that here, one thing about here is the dynamisms and the motivations and the focus of education are very much thing of fear in Sri Lanka.
Why do you think that is?
Because you really invest in education. I can
Yes,
see that.
yes, true.
And that is to me a recipe for success. Any countries, any population, any community invest in education is for the future. Because the best mobility factor is always education. If you want to change the family, the community, the country, begin with education. And I think that's what also in Malaysia. We love education, we invest in education. The same here. There are many similarities between Malaysia and Sri Lanka. That's why when I look into our Sri Lanka students in our main campus, not here,
Yeah.
they adapt very well. Many of them join our medical program. They adapt very well. That's why I would like to invite more Sri Lanka to join our program, because we're going to nurture them, develop them, and put them into the right path to make sure that they are going to be very successful professional in the future.
Yes. So what role does industry collaboration in preparing students to be not just job seekers, but job creators and contribute to society? And do you think your university is establishing that as a leading global institution in education?
Thank you. That's a very good question. Difficult answer. I
I-
think industry is always become a backbone in our university.
Yes.
We call it industry embedded ecosystem. We are looking into working with more industries to make sure that we can give a greater exposure for our students. In our main campus, for example, we have more than 2,000 companies attached to the university.
2000.
Yes, it's not just for internship, but we're looking about to bring them industry to be part of industry teaching and learning, to make sure that give the impact to the community, not just for the job, but also for entrepreneurship program, for commercialization. Because by linking with industries, the entrepreneurship program become wholesome, and because of that, they become a job creators. Just now, for example, in our campus here in Management and Science Institute, I met some of our lecturers coming from industry. I thank them for that, because they are contributing and bring industry embeds in our curriculum. That is very, very important for the future.
You said it is important that students be engaged in internships and being employed.
Yeah.
So at what age do you think students should get into their first internship or be employed? And do you think it's wise enough for a student to manage education plus a job while doing higher education, while learning higher education?
I think if you look into education nowadays, is very much hybrids.
Yes.
And because of that, we have to bring industry earlier into the university. I'm always propagating that industries and university academic have to be parallel.
Hand in hand, yeah.
Hand in hand, parallels. And the exposure to industry must be as early as possible. That's why in our university we develop the curriculum as such, in the manner that we develop like a concept of a dual university. We have academic components, which is medical program, engineering, all the laws, accounting, and so on and so forth. But on the other hand, we also have fashion design, very much skill based, very much industry driven. Hospitality and tourism, which is we are top in the world, very much skill driven. Culinary art, very much skill driven. Now we infuse them with AI, cybersecurity, very much skill driven. So this must be blend. That's why I'm really propagating as an educator, the industries and academic must be working together for the better future.
So as we are running out of time, I want to ask a question from you, like about based on your expertise, I would say. So you know that how we are handling the situation now with education and whatnot globally. You know, it's rapidly changing.
Yeah,
with
yes.
everything. So do you think it will change more in the future, and if so, how do you think it will change?
As I said earlier, higher education the landscape has changed tremendously.
Yeah.
360 degrees. Now we are living in the era of what they call it post-normal times.
Post-normal time.
Post-normal times. This is the era where the disruption is then the natural process. Recently we have COVID, for example. So we have a lot of disruptions, either in education or in the industries. And because of that, the nature of the industries are very much different. The nature of education also very much different. So probably if you look into the profile of the student of all university all over the world, they are moving from post-secondary school A levels, still there, join the university, you have more adults learner. You have more people are working into it. Work become student as a together while they work as well. So the post many way or many teaching and learning has to be changed. The way we address the issues has to be changed, and that reflect the trend all over the world. So the future is very much about hybrids, about holistic and balanced education, if you ask me.
Now we come to the end of today's discussion, and I hope you could have had the opportunity to carry this conversation further, because it was such a magnificent conversation that we had. We had with us today Professor Mohd Shukri, the founder and president of the Management and Science University in Malaysia. It was a pleasure, Doctor, to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Till next time, thank you for watching.